All right. Errol Spence Jr. picks a winner for Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman. We're going to talk about that in this video. All right. Errol Spence Jr., 147-pound champion, considered by many to be the best in the welterweight division, gives his pick and what he thinks is going to happen between Manny Pacquiao, the eight division champion or title holder, depending on how you want to phrase that, and Keith Thurman, the longest reigning welterweight champion and the current 100 WBA super welterweight champion. And essentially, Errol Spence Jr. is looking back on what happened in the fight between Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao and drawing a conclusion based on that fight. And he says the outcome of that fight really depends on what Manny Pacquiao shows up. And this is what he says specifically. He said it depends on which Pacquiao shows up and which Keith shows up. I think Keith will be a lot sharper than he was in his last fight. You know, he had a long layoff and he was just now coming back. And Keith is a lot tougher than a lot of people think he is. I mean, he took a lot of punches in that last fight. Even with the Sean Porter fight, he took a lot of punches too. So, I mean, the dude, he's tough. He might be a boxer, but he's tough and he's gritty. I think Thurman is going to win a split decision or he's just going to blow Pacquiao out. It just depends on which Pacquiao comes out. And you know, if he can turn the tables a little bit, he may and become the Pacquiao, then I think he can win. But if it's the Pacquiao that fought Bronner, I think Keith might edge him and might outpoint him because Keith will get on his bicycle if need be and just move around and pot shot him. So I think Keith will edge it out. I agree. He says, hey man, it depends on if Manny Pacquiao can turn back the clock. And let me tell you, man, for somebody that is over the age of 40 years old, you don't get to turn back clocks, man. This isn't this ain't Harry Potter, dude. You can't shoot out an incantation and jingle a little chain and then all of a sudden you're back 5 years ago. Doesn't work like that, man. Age always catches up. And that's what I've been saying about this fight with Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence Jr. Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman from the beginning. There's a lot of Pacquiao fans and a lot of just, casual fans that are looking at, not casual fans, a lot of fans that are hopeful, I'll put it that way, hopeful fans that are big fans of Manny Pacquiao that see what he does against lower level competition, remember what he did when he's at his peak, and think it's going to go on forever. And I'm here to tell you, man, it's not going to go on forever. If Manny Pacquiao was the same Manny Pacquiao that he was when he fought Miguel Cotto, when he fought Marco Antonio, when he fought Eric Morales, or when he fought Ricky Hatton, fought Oscar De La Hoya, he wouldn't have lost to Jeff Horn. And that fight wouldn't even have been close enough it wouldn't have been close enough for them to be able to give a decision to Jeff Horn. Age is just there. And I believe that Errol Spence Jr. is right. Look, man, Keith Thurman is a very, very good fighter. And there's a lot of people that are hedging, that are putting their pick for Manny Pacquiao on the back of Keith Thurman's performance against Josecito Lopez. He had not fought. Keith Thurman hadn't fought in 2 years. And essentially that was a warm-up for a tougher fight. He had one training camp. Now he's got 2 training camps under his belt and a fight. The guy should be a lot sharper for Manny Pacquiao than he was for Josecito Lopez. And on the other side of it, Manny Pacquiao hasn't got any younger. Now, I don't believe, just like Errol Spence Jr. said, I don't think that this is going to be a knockout. Well, evaluating what Errol Spence Jr. said, I don't think that this is a case where it's going to be a blowout for Manny Pacquiao. Unless Manny Pacquiao really hits the wall just really hits the wall in that fight. I just don't see it. I don't see Keith Thurman staying there, committing to enough punches, sitting down on his punches, and really taking a chance against Manny Pacquiao and trying to beat up Manny Pacquiao. I do think that Manny Pacquiao is experienced enough, he's gritty enough, he's got a hard enough punch, and he's active enough to keep Keith Thurman, even the best Keith Thurman, to keep him at bay and to keep him from thinking he can just walk through him. Now, of course, there is always the counter right hand or the lead left uppercut from the orthodox fighter, as we saw being laid out in the fights with Juan Manuel Marquez, that can be kryptonite for Manny Pacquiao. And with those with that there is definitely the risk for Manny Pacquiao of just getting a flash knockdown. I don't think anybody would say that Juan Manuel Marquez is a heavier puncher or has faster hands. Some people might say he was a smarter fighter than Keith Thurman is. But if Juan Manuel Marquez can do that, wind up having him flat on his face, then it can happen with Keith Thurman. But I don't see that happening. The way that I see this fight playing out, I see Keith Thurman doing the other suggestion or the other idea that Errol Spence Jr. had, which was fighting on the outside, outboxing Manny Pacquiao, going to a decision, and winning a decision. If Manny Pacquiao is going to win this fight is going to be in a split decision win for Manny Pacquiao. That's the only way that I can see Manny Pacquiao winning. For people saying that Manny Pacquiao is going to knock out Keith Thurman, I think that you're way off base. I think you're living 5 years, 6 years in the past, and that's not going to happen. And even 3 years ago, I don't think Manny Pacquiao would knock out Keith Thurman. 3 years ago, I don't think that Manny Pacquiao would have beat Keith Thurman. I think Keith Thurman is a better fighter than anybody that Manny Pacquiao has fought since he fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. And other than Floyd Mayweather Jr., he's a better fighter. Keith Thurman's a better fighter than anybody that Manny Pacquiao's fought since he got knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez. And quite honestly, I think that I might lean towards, as far as who's the more dangerous fighter for Manny Pacquiao, is it, between Juan Manuel Marquez and Keith Thurman? Quite honestly, I think I lean towards, by a nose hair, by Keith Thurman. And that's going to come across strange to a lot of people because people get caught up in names. People get caught up in names a lot. I listen to these conversations that are going on about Dillian White and Luis Ortiz. People are always trying to pull out a resume. Who is he beating? Who is he beating? Who is he beating? Luis Ortiz didn't want to fight Dillian White. Who is Luis Ortiz beat? That kind of logic. And they use the same type of logic on comparisons, like if I told you that I think that Keith Thurman is better than Juan Manuel Marquez. Who has Keith Thurman beat? Now, the truth of the matter is that Keith Thurman beat Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman beat Sean Porter. And I don't think that there's anybody, save Floyd Mayweather Jr., that would have beaten on Manny Pacquiao's resume that would beat Sean Porter or beat Danny Garcia at the time that Manny Pacquiao beat them. Maybe Miguel Cotto could have put a real good show on and beat Danny Garcia in his prime, but that's not when he was at 140 pounds. But that's not the fighter. That's not the fighter that Manny Pacquiao fought. So anyway, Manny Pacquiao has a chance to win this fight, but I agree very much with Errol Spence Jr.'s assessment of the situation that if Manny Pacquiao ain't really, really, really on his game, he's going to get outpointed. If Keith Thurman, if he's not on his game, he could get knocked out. And that's my point. But the only way that I personally see Manny Pacquiao winning is if Manny Pacquiao wins a split decision against Keith Thurman, or a controversial decision, because I'm leaving the politics out of that. I'm just talking about how I would score the fight. And with that, I'm out. Peace.